Hello, this afternoon I'm going to speak in English. I wanted to discuss the topic called trading with the enemy. What is the role of Hong Kong in the era of assertive Chinese sovereignty and increasingly confrontational relationship between the West and China? From Occupy Central to the umbrella movement, there is a growing local Hong Kong movement that is trying to cry out for a Hong Kong identity. So let's face the questions. What does it mean to be a Hong Konger? What does it mean to be a Hong Konger? What does Hong Kong stand for? What is the role of Hong Kong in an increasingly complex world that the West seems to be charting a course to clash and confront China? Or is it the other way around, that China is clashing with the West? I would argue that every country, or even every city, particularly a large metropolis like Hong Kong, must stand for something and must play a useful and a unique role in the world in order to be successful. Hong Kong is branded as Asia's world city. What does that mean? On the surface, it should at least be the most worldly city in Asia. But are we? What does it mean to be Asia's world city? And more importantly, what it takes to be the worldliest. There has been an unhealthy trend to overemphasize politics or ideology among Hong Kong citizens. Traditionally, Hong Kong people have not been very active in politics. Why now? Perhaps it's the younger generation? Perhaps Hong Kong is facing an identity crisis. We need to understand and agree, what does Hong Kong stand for? I learned the term trading with the enemies from a Danish taxi driver during a trip to Copenhagen many years ago. I asked him why Denmark is so successful as a small country without resources and no obvious competitive advantages. Surprisingly, he didn't mention governance, legal system, or ideology. Instead, he talks about this Danish attitude, that is, we have to trade. We would even trade with enemies. Well, I think that's how Hong Kong started. I would argue when the Qing dynasty forbade trading with the enemies, the Western powers or Western barbarians, whatever you like to call them, it was the Cantonese traders in Guangzhou and later Hong Kong conducted trade between China and the rest of the world. Many of them were viewed as enemies of China. In fact, much of the trade involved smuggling and other illegal activities. Later on, as a British colony, Hong Kong was at the gate, on the doorsteps of China. Hong Kong's role was facilitating trade, whether at a time when the different warlords in China were fighting each other, or when the Japanese invaded China, or later during the Civil War when the Chinese communists were fighting and eventually defeating the nationalists. Hong Kong thrived on trading with both sides during each and every conflict. In fact, Hong Kong traded with everyone. That trend continued after 1949, when the People's Republic of China needed to trade with the United States, or Japan, or even Taiwan. Hong Kong was the middleman, and the more the enemies hated each other, the fatter are the profit margin for the Hong Kong trader. Business was thriving no matter how bad the international or regional conflicts were. In fact, we Hong Kong people are the best at having a great life by being the middleman to the fighting enemies. Since when have we lost this great attitude of being practical and mind our own business? Why are we in the business of picking sides amidst huge global conflicts? If the United States are fighting with China or the Chinese Communist Party, surely there is no business for Hong Kong to get involved in the middle, especially at a time when an alarmingly small percentage of the US society are getting filthy rich, while a great many citizens there are getting poorer. One famous economist has called this phenomenon as rich Americans are enjoying socialism, while poor Americans are suffering from brutal capitalism. Why? Rich people can get access to a lot of capital as the result of government printing money. But the government is printing money because they were aimed at pandemic relief and other activities which were supposed to be socialist in nature. So can we please get back to what Hong Kong is best at? Trading with and providing services to whoever is willing to pay for it. We smile, we do business, we say thank you in every language, and we shouldn't care if our customers hate each other. We don't hate them, and they shouldn't hate us, right?